in for Pitt. I always think of Pitt having really good offensive lines. Is that the case?
Yeah, I mean, when you watch these guys, they're physical up front. They run a lot of traditional direct runs. They do a good job of getting movement at the point of attack on double teams. They're physical, they're tough, they're aggressive. So, we saw the tape. We understand it's going to be a challenge, so we've got to be ready to play.
We've talked several times about Devontae's improvement and getting lineman of the week or whatever. I mean, it's really been 3 solid weeks in a row.
Yeah, I mean, it takes some time sometimes when, like I said before, I think anytime people lose sight of the value you have when you can train with other people around you and you have a structure and you have a program. And I think our strength coach does a great job with those guys and what they do. And I think it's kind of paying off now for him. And I continue to see him continue to get better and develop and grow.
It wasn't your best game, I assume, when you went back and looked on film. What do you kind of take? How do you go through a game like that when you played so well and you don't have your best game?
Well, I think it goes to show you there's a small line between playing really, really good and giving up some plays you don't want to give up. First of all, your eyes have got to be in the right spot. And if your eyes are in the right spot, you generally don't have guys running free down the middle of the field. So if you take care of that, you'd alleviate quite a few plays. Next thing is just leveraging the ball and making sure you take good angles and tackling. Outside of that, I think they had some good players that can make some plays in space. But, there's a fine line between being really, really good like we were against Syracuse and Boston College and, some of those other teams and not playing maybe the way you want to play. I think it's a good lesson for your players. The most important thing is we won the game. We found a way to win it. And, we always work to get better every week.
What was your reaction when you saw Sheldon Rankins got a spot in the Senior Bowl?
I was really happy for him. I mean, I think he deserves it. I was fortunate enough to coach that game at one point, and I think he'll turn some heads down there with his play. He's as talented as a defensive lineman that I've had since I've been, back into college football from the National Football League that I've coached, and I think he deserves everything he gets. He's going to be a guy that I think can play a long time at the next level, and certainly look forward to him finishing his career off right with us. But really proud of him, and glad to see him getting some well-deserved rewards.
He seems to be a guy who wears his weight well. He doesn't really look like a 300-pounder.
No, he's a guy that is going to be able to play all positions up front. He's going to be able to play all 3 downs. He's able to win one-on-one blocks not only in the run game but in the pass game. He has athletic ability and range to affect balls not only inside in the box but also on the perimeter and do those kind of things. So I think when you start adding all that stuff up along with his character, his work ethic, that's going to really up his value.
What's the key when they start moving Boyd around?
Obviously he's a talented player, and they do a good job schematically of trying to find ways to get him the ball. He's done a good job for him, so you just got to have awareness and understand where he's at and be ready to make plays, because if he's to you, you're probably getting the ball.
Communication-wise, you want your linebackers pointing out where he is?
Well, I think that from a structure standpoint, your secondary, you always want to know where people are, and the formation dictates how you play sometimes. So you just got to have awareness to good players and where they are, and just make sure that we're all on the same page with what we're doing.
You've been in a lot of bowl games. To be bowl eligible, what does that mean for a team? And then you try to just enhance your position from here on out.
Well, I think number one, it's a great because it gives you extra practice time with the guys that are coming back next year. So it allows you to evaluate guys and see maybe where you want to play guys. Best example I can give is I remember that when Jarvis Jones came to Georgia and he was redshirted, we were going to say we were going to play him inside or outside backer. That was the big decision. So we used to scrimmage those guys kind of like we do here. So it took about 2 series to realize we were going to play him outside, so that part of it was over with. So, it allows you to do that.
Right.
So it allows you to evaluate your players. It allows you to practice the young guys. And it's a reward for your players that have worked hard all year. So I think there's a lot of good in it, and we're certainly proud of the fact that we were able to become bowl eligible. We're excited about it, and now we just want to look to enhance it.
Can Peterman hurt you downfield? Does he have that kind of ability?
Yeah. I think that when you look at those guys, they've got some guys that can make some plays on the ball. The last couple games they've made some plays. So, not only can they run it, but they can stretch the field. So we've got to be able to play both.
What's the focus when you go up against this Pittsburgh team?
Well, you just know you got to come in as a team and just be physical. Because they're a very big and physical team. So we just got to come every play and be physical.
You're fairly familiar with them. Louisville's fairly familiar with them. Been in 2 different conferences. They seem to have a lot of good offensive lines. Is that the case this year?
Yeah, the offensive line is big. They're pretty physical. They like to move guys around. I actually wasn't here when they played them.
That's right.
I was a senior in high school, but they got pretty big physical guys from what I see this year.
Yeah.
Talk about being bowl eligible? How do you not? You know, now you got to enhance it. It's not like the season's over, but it is nice to know you've got that game at the end, right?
Yeah, it's just a great feeling. I mean, you get to practice extra, get extra reps, and then you get to spend more time with the guys who are leaving for the draft and stuff this year. So it's just a great feeling just to come back and have another game.
What do you? I mean, as one of the leaders, and Sheldon is too. I mean, when he gets selected to the Senior Bowl, I mean that's something everybody. I'm assuming it can be a goal for everybody. Is that pretty cool when you see a teammate get that honor?
I mean, if anybody deserves it, I think it's Sheldon. I mean, he's a great player, not only player, but just a person off the field. I mean, he's big, athletic, so I think he's going to turn some heads, like Coach Grantham said.
What did you guys not do well last week? Not that it was bad, but it wasn't your best effort, I don't believe, defensively.
I think from a communication standpoint, we could have done better. I mean, there was a couple calls that we could have got right, but that's why we're coming back this week and just working on it.
Mizell seemed to be one of those guys that's tough to tackle. Does Pitt have anybody like that?
I mean, they have good players, just like we got good players. I mean, they have good running backs, good receivers. I mean, we just got to come to play, point blank, period.
What about Boyd? How much do you have to kind of keep track of where he's going, where he's moving around the field?
I mean, you got to keep track of him. I mean, he's a great player, like I say. I mean, but we got great players too, so we're going to come in and do what we got to do.
They seem to target him a lot. I mean, you pretty much know that if he's in the slot, he's probably getting something, right?
I mean, he's a great player. I mean, he's projected to go in the NFL, so, I mean, of course they're going to try to give him the ball a lot, and it's just our job to try to eliminate those plays.
All right.
Thanks.
Thanks, Steve.